Hey guys, this is Coach Mike Ryan from the Fastball USA Training Center, and welcome. The reason why I'm creating this video today is I really believe that the baseball world has gone and complicated things, and the people that are suffering for this is our current athletes today. And what I mean by that, by overcomplicating things, is they're making mechanics. First of all, if you go on the internet, you're going to find 100 different variations to hit, 100 different variations to throw. And the result is the players are confused, the parents are confused, and oftentimes coaches are getting very confused. So years ago when I started doing instruction and training, what I committed to is trying to study and find out, what do the greatest hitters in the world do alike? And what do the greatest throwers and pitchers do alike? Now, when I started off on that mission, I started watching video of several major league hitters, Hall of Famers, modern day, you name it, right? And what I started to find was, obviously batting stances are going to differ player to player. So for every single batting stance you have, there's going to be a different style, right? No two people have the exact same batting stance. Then what we started finding out is when hitters start to load or shift their weight or get moving, that there is still a lot of variation on how they do it, right? So the batting stances have the most variation. Then how they load and stride. Some have a high leg kick, some have a low leg kick, some have a big stride, some have a small stride, right? So some people start wider, some people start more narrow, right? So all of that is almost a distraction compared to what the greatest hitters start to do alike. So when the greatest hitters, and for that matter, the greatest throwers and pitchers, when they start to look the most alike, is as the front foot is coming down, as the stride foot lands, post-stride. So what starts to happen is, as the front foot is landing to take a swing, and as the front foot is landing to make a throw, what you're going to start to notice is all of a sudden, the greatest hitters in the world, if you studied the 100 greatest hitters, they're going to look a lot alike. And the same thing with pitchers, especially pitchers who are very healthy. So for example, in this case, this is Carlos Correa as his front foot just landed after stride. And if we put a bunch of other major league hitters up here, it's going to look very similar. Here's your note. Number one, when he lands, he's in an athletic position. His feet are wide, his knees are bent, both knees are bent at the waist. On the upper half, his front shoulder's tucked in lower than the back shoulder when the front foot hits the ground. His hands, his right hand, his bicep, in a sense, is closed, where you can almost put a $100 bill in there, and he pulls it back right behind his shoulder. Notice the gap between the hand and the shoulder, not very big. The middle of the bat is really close to the back of the helmet, and if you look above his head, you can see the barrel of the bat. We like to call this above the head being in the imaginary window. So what I'm telling you is, if you are coaching a player, or maybe it's your kid, or maybe it's you coaching yourself, when your front foot lands, you've got to be as close to this position as you could possibly be into if you're going to take a good swing. So you could have, and there's people out there spending thousands of dollars on hitting lessons, and I can tell you this, for the last 20 plus years that I've been doing analysis and instruction and training, this is the number one thing that is off when we see hitters taking BP or game swings. When their front foot hits the ground, they don't look like an elite major league hitter. There's something off. And this is the first, what I would call, piece of the domino that needs to fall right. Because you could be practicing taking the greatest swing in the world. If you're not launching your swing from this position, that becomes a problem. So you may be thinking, why hasn't anybody told you this before? I think in part, some of it is everybody's taking their own angle to sound smarter. This is really simple. When your front foot's coming down, you got to be in a good position to take a swing. It's a really simple concept. So for those who are out there who are coaches trying to help players, I would say to you, you got to find a way to simplify your approach to teaching and training. Simplify the complex. Take the complex and simplify, right? So guys, when you are approaching your mechanics, you have to know what the greatest hitters in the world are doing alike. Same thing with the throwers and the pitchers. As the front foot lands, do you look like you're in athletic position? Common things that I see incorrect as the front foot lands with weight distribution. I'll see a lot of players with actually too much weight over their back leg, where they're not getting athletic enough, or they're not bent at the waist. They're just not in an athletic position. Or we'll see the front shoulders not lower than the back shoulders. They're landing with their front shoulder higher than the back shoulder. Or the hands are not back in that bicep pinched position where the hands get kind of pinched back a little bit behind them with the hand right off the back shoulder. Or the middle of the bat is not angled back towards the head where it's short distance from the helmet, or the bat's not in the imaginary window. These are common things that we see off when we see hitters. And again, these are oftentimes people that have spent thousands of dollars on lessons and training and camps, and yet still, as their front foot is planting to the ground, getting ready to hit, they don't look like an elite major league hitter. And the same can be said with pitching and throwing. There's a pretty simple concept. The greatest hitters in the world get to the right place at the right time. Right place, right time as that front foot lands, and so do the elite throwers and pitchers in the world, especially the ones who are pretty healthy and sustainable over a long period of time. If you have any questions on this, shoot me an email, fastballusa@hotmail.com. But I would suggest to you, video yourself or video your player and start watching closely when they start to go into landing with their front foot. Right before the foot lands and as the foot lands, start studying weight distribution, athleticism, and do they meet these checkpoints? Front shoulder lower than back, hands pulled back, bicep closed, middle of the back close to the head, bat in the window. And I think you'll start finding that if we're in a really good position to take the swing, that will make the swing even more efficient and more productive. Again, this is Coach Mike Ryan from the Fastball USA Training Center. Check us out online at fastballusa.com or shoot me an email with any questions at fastballusa@hotmail.com.